Hey, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be demoing and having a shootout between the three Vertex UltraPhonix pedals. So let me quickly say, this is not a sponsored video by Sweetwater or Vertex pedals. I own all three of these. And I do want to give a shout out to my personal sales rep at Sweetwater, Jeff Rolling. Definitely check out Sweetwater. They usually have incredible prices, but you have a sales associate who's going to kind of know you and know your taste and is going to work with you, and they're just information of the products that they have in stock is really, really awesome. And also check out the Rig Doctor on YouTube, which is Mason Marangella, the owner of Vertex Effects, has a great YouTube channel giving information about signal chain, and his knowledge of a high-end boutique hand-wired pedal board is beyond, and so definitely check out his YouTube. So the Ultraphonix pedal. The Ultraphonix is based on a Dumble overdrive special, and it's kind of putting that Dumble ODS sound in a box here. And so there's a few different ways you can use the Ultraphonix pedal. You can use it as a Dumble preamp if you're going into a different amp and you want this to be after all your drives and have everything going through that as like an always on pedal. It is definitely capable of giving you a preamp kind of before any of your time-based effects, before hitting the front of your amp. But it can also be used as just a great drive pedal. And it's been on my main staple board for a long time. It is definitely a go-to for me when I want higher gain sounds. This is kind of my go-to place. The way it sits in the mid-range and the saturation is really organic and feels great for me on the higher gain side of things, which I typically am not as comfortable with a higher gain sound. So this pedal definitely does it in the right way for me. So today we're going to be talking about the three different versions of the Ultraphonix. Originally, the Ultraphonix Overdrive was released in 2018, and it was a really anticipated pedal. Knowing that they were working on it, it actually went under a 4-year R&D process, and really capturing that overdrive special sound. I feel like Vertex was definitely on the front end of that. There were other pedals that did that somewhat, but not in the way that I feel like Vertex went about trying to create a Dumble ODS pedal. It felt very different than what was kind of out there already, and then we kind of saw a huge flood of Dumbles getting back to kind of being extremely popular among gear culture. And so I feel like they really paved the way for a lot of the current Dumble amp hype. And so it originally came out, and that was the first one, which is the Ultraphonix here. And then we saw the Ultraphonix HRM come out, which the HRM, some people, there's kind of debate on what it stands for. Hot Rodded Marshall seems the most accurate to me, but it is trying to capture the EL34 variants of the Dumble Overdrive Special. So it has more of a British characteristic, but then we also see a change in feature set. So the original Ultraphonix has the filter knob, a gain knob, and a volume knob. And then the HRM comes out, and for the HRM, we've got a master volume, an input volume, which is going to be how hard the preamp is being pushed, an accent, which is increasing presence and saturation, tone, and then a ratio knob that is a clean blend. So kind of blending between your driven sound and your clean dry through. And so this one's going to be shifted in the EQ from the original Ultraphonix to get more of that British characteristic EL34 power tube sound. But also it has these new features on it. And then we recently just saw the Ultraphonix Mark II, which is their smaller enclosure size, and it's a third the size of the original smaller, so it's 2/3 the size of the original. So it definitely saves a little space there, but we also saw a change in feature set on the Mark II. So on the Mark II, so we have a master that controls the overall volume and output of the pedal. And then we have our filter there, which is kind of like the high mid, so 800 to 1.6K is what that filter is controlling. And then for the drive section, we have a level, which is the input gain of the pedal, and then we have a ratio that's going to be blending in distorted signal, and it's also going to be increasing some saturation as you increase that ratio. So with these three versions, we're just going to kind of compare the feature set and also just listen to the sonic differences between the three, and then maybe let me know at the end which one you would end up with, because I know I'm going to have to decide on which one is going back on the main board after this video. Alright, so here we are with all three of the Vertex UltraPhonix pedals. What we're going to do is go one pedal at a time, play through the suggested settings in the product manuals for each, and then we'll kind of compare differences between the three variants here. So we'll start with the original one, which is the one that's been on my main board for a long time, and we're going to go through the suggested settings here, starting with the one they call Robin. Quickly first, my clean tone is my PRS going into my Smart Bell ODS style head. However, none of the gain or drive section of the amp is going to be engaged for any of this demo. And then that's going through the Little John Cabs prototype number 1, loaded with EVM 12Ls, mic'd with a Shure SM57 and a U87 clone, going straight into the Apollo. Here's the clean tone on the neck pickup. So pretty sterile, very flat EQ, trying to give a good platform for these pedals to succeed here. So the first suggested setting is the Robin. So we're going to bring our volume to about there, filter there, and there. It's got that really kind of upfront but very saturated sound to it. Yeah, it's not overly bright. I tend to like darker sounds anyway, so this is really close to that. So then we're going to go to the Mr. 335 setting. And so we're going to back the filter off and the gain. You can hear that really smooth, very dark sound that makes sense for the Mr. 335 sound. It's got that really dark, great sound. Let's go to the Lindley setting. So we've got the filter kind of straight up in the middle now. And then we'll go to the continuum lead sound. And then the Carlos, the continuum sound is great. Very bright and very loud for the Carlos setting. All right, so now we're going to go to the Ultraphonix HRM, and the first suggested setting here is the Ferris Special. So we're going to be bringing the master up, doing this upside down sometimes is a little counterintuitive. All right. It's a great lower gain sound, and then the Mister. So bringing the volume back down, and the input volume goes up. Accent is pretty far down, but we're increasing the tone. And then let's go to the classic lead. That is got a great like classic rock sound. And then the Brit Sizzle, which is when we are finally bringing this accent up, or the ratio, I'm sorry, so we're getting more into that full just distortion signal with no clean in it. definitely has that really sizzly sparkle on the top end. It's fairly scoop sound, so it's a very different gain characteristic than the Ultraphonix, and the EQ shift is huge. But the added flexibility, being able to blend in some clean tone and drive the saturation up. Again, it's really dynamic and sensitive to your guitar's volume knob, and so you can get some great lower gain sounds like that, and then, you know, just bring it full volume and in the bridge pickup. And you're still got that singing lead sound. All right, so now we're gonna go and move on to the Ultraphonix Mark II, and we've got the same settings here that we have on the original Ultraphonix, so we can kind of quickly really compare the different sounds. So we're gonna start with the Robin, which is, again, closer to how I run my original Ultraphonix. That's a great sound, and you know, that compared to the original Ultraphonix, you can hear that the ratio knob that's blending in your clean signal, and then it's also changing a little bit of the saturation. Makes it sit in a slightly different place, but to me it's a little warmer and organic. So we're going to go to the Larry, and so bringing the volume down here and the filter down, leaning more on the clean side, and then the input gain kind of neutral here. Again, we have that darker sound that has like almost more saturation, but with not a lot of top end. And then we have the Carlos, which we're going to be boosting the front end a lot harder. that's a great, really saturated, very spongy feeling. Let's go to the continuum lead. So we're backing off the ratio a little bit and bringing the level to more of a unity position again. Again, we've just got a little more control blending in that clean sound. Let's quickly go to the Lindley. Cranking the ratio here, getting it a little more on the straight dirt side. Yeah, that's I kind of tweaked the Lindley closer to the Robin setting, just more of the way that I typically use the Ultraphonix. Ultimately, I think the Mark II has everything that the original Ultraphonix had, with just more flexibility and versatility with that ratio, being able to blend in more clean tone, and I feel like it makes it even more dynamic with your guitar's volume knob. Yeah, it's really dynamic. I think that it is an improvement not only in being smaller in size, but added feature set over the original Ultraphonix, and it just makes it that much better in my mind. Again, I'm biased. I own all three of these, and I see a place for the HRM is a very different place than the Ultraphonix Mark II or the original. The EQ shift is humongous. It's a much more scooped, very pillowy sound with a lot of bite on the top end. So if you're somebody who has a clean sound on their amp that is very mid-forward, and what you don't want is to double down on kind of the mid honkiness, I can see the HRM being the one that you would go for over the Ultraphonix Mark II. Personally, I think the Mark II is going to be the one that ends up back on the main board. It's added versatility with the ratio and input level separate drive section knobs. Makes it a little more practical for me, and I can see myself going to it more often because of those new features. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video doing a shootout between the three versions of the Vertex UltraPhonix overdrive pedal. Like I said, I think I'm going to end up with the Mark II being the one that goes back on my main board after pulling the original Ultraphonix off. I think the added flexibility makes it make more sense on my main board. However, I can see a reason for all three, I mean really specifically the HRM and the Mark II. I think getting the Mark II, you can get everything and all the sounds out of the original Ultraphonix, but just with more on the lower gain side and even a little higher gain capabilities, I think. So be sure to check out the Vertex UltraPhonix pedals at Sweetwater. Again, shout out to Uncle Mason, the Rig Doctor, and check out his YouTube channel. Go visit Sweetwater. Until next time, I've been Colin. Let's get the level right there. Okay, and power Vertex. We're going to be doing. We're going to do all this again. Okay. So let me quickly pedal company. Okay. Ultra is a really cool. Let's, you know what, do it again. Okay. Maybe we should actually, because I need to shout out Sweetwater. All right. Vertex or okay, one more again. And